You want to dive right in?
Sure.
Awesome. All right.
I sent you a picture of my six seniors to your Twitter.
Let me see. There it is. Oh wow. Where is this? Is this in y'all's gym?
Yeah, I sent Donoho Gym.
I love that floor.
Yeah, it's a cool floor. Really is.
Reminds me like almost like a small version
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
old
It's a
garden.
little it's a
Little
little bit of
parquet.
little parquet, yeah.
I like it. Man. Six. So these are upcoming rising seniors or
Yeah, they're current juniors. They're rising seniors. Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
I
Well
haven't
let's
had that
dive
much I hadn't had that much height.
well let's dive in and talk about it.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so last 2 years in 4A at Talladega. Now Donoho is 1A, right?
Yes. Right.
Have you ever been in 1A?
No, I've never been in 2A.
Never been in
I've
2A.
I've been a head coach. I've never been an assistant at 4A or below. And I was a head coach my first year at Crossville. We were 3A.
Yeah.
And then we went 3-7 that first year, 2009. And then we went 4A by about three students. And we got put in a very tough region with Cherokee County and Gunnersville and North Jackson. And it was a tough region. And we went 6-4. Got beat on the last second field goal by Gunnersville. But so I was 3A and then 4A. And then from there, I went to Shades Valley and was there for 4 years at 6A Shades Valley. And then I was at Munford for 4 years. We were 4A for 3 seasons and went 5A that
Wow.
last one.
Yeah.
So
Man.
I've coached
How's it
around.
how does it like so far? I know y'all haven't, this is a preseason thing, so I know y'all haven't played a game
Mhm.
yet, but just so far getting acclimated to a new place, what are maybe some of the similarities and differences and that kind of thing at a class 1A school?
Well, I mean, it's been by providence, I believe, and by God's grace. I truly believe that God placed me in some high poverty schools. So every one of the schools I've been a head coach at has been a Title I or a high poverty school. Uh, from Crossville to Shades Valley, Munford, surprisingly, Fayette, surprisingly, Title I school, and then go back to Huffman, and then Talladega. So I after I resigned at Talladega, I had already turned down a job or two at private schools and one out of state. I could have already used my retirement. I already had 25 years in when I took Talladega. Actually, I had 27 already, three in Georgia. So I'm finishing up 32 years. Um, and my teacher retirement is really good. So to be honest, I was losing out every year I stayed in public education. I was losing out on $55,000 a year. And when you really think about it that way, I turned 57 three days ago. Um, I'm not going to have this much time to double dip. I've only got that small amount of time to double dip and make money that most teachers don't get a chance to make. And so I thought I was moving to Coach Speakman offered me the job as offensive coordinator at Faith Academy. And so I was going to be able to draw my public school retirement and coach down there with him. Um, I'm so grateful that he offered me that job, and we were planning on moving down there. Uh, I didn't want to move. I had made my wife move too many times because of how the world of coaching goes.
Right.
And so I was so grateful to Mr. Noon, the head of school at Donoho, and Steve Gendron, who's the athletic director and head baseball coach there. And It's been fantastic. I've been able to watch some baseball playoff games. Uh, I got to meet my dad in Huntsville and watch our girls, Donoho girls, finish second in state in 1A through 3A soccer. And so the parental support, the atmosphere in the hallways is just fantastic. And so I'm ecstatic about the opportunity, and the kids have been great. The parents have been great, teachers, administration, everything. So,
Wow. Did you know much about Donaho before you took over?
uh, I had known, I had seen a few of their kids in camps back when I was at Munford, and we'd be at some of the same combines and camps. And
Yeah.
so, uh, and Shannon Felder had been a head coach there. We were teammates at Alabama, and so I knew a little bit about it. Daryl Smith was also a coach there for a little bit, and then he came to coach with me at Munford, and so I knew a little bit about it. Um, it's very small, especially we're still 1A with even the multiplier. So we're
Wow.
still 1A, so we're a middle of the road small 1A, but
Yeah.
great kids. We got to get in the weight room and we got to hit it. There's resources. There's money for the parents. I've already had a parent meeting with them about, and I'm going to give them a list of stuff I need as far as protein, uh, uh, and snacks and calories and everything we're going to need, because we're going to hit the weight room wide open, and that's always kind of the test, you know, for a head coach as they come in. When I was a young uh, strength coach, I wanted all summer long. I wanted at least 4 days a week with the boys.
Yeah.
And so I was 25, going to change the world of strength coaching and football and all that kind of stuff. And so you kind of have to have your boss kind of have to have you pull you back and reins. And so so that's the fine line, really. I think with summer is kids need a vacation. They need a summer. Parents need a summer, and coaches need a summer. So that's the fine line. I know when Perry Swindle hired me as a strength coach in 2001 at Russellville, I had already been quarterback coach there, and he was able to hire me full time teacher. I wanted. He said, "No, you got 3 days a week, and two are going to be weightlifting and speed, and one's going to be basically football practice." And I said, "Well, I need more." He said, "Nope, that's what you got." And so we were able to get stronger and do great things. So
Yeah.
I've already
You
had
need
I've already had too much coffee, and I'm rambling on. So
now you
keep
need
it
a
going.
fridge full of these. Is that what you're
Oh,
after?
yep. I love them. I love them. They
They're
make a
so
difference.
good. What's it what's it been like so far? Like what's the community like? Not necessarily the school. I mean, I'm sure, especially in those smaller classifications. I know the school is such a huge part of the community. Maybe bigger than some really big communities. But
Yeah.
what's it been like? Kind of ingraining yourselves, learning who the people are, the places, that kind of thing so far.
Well, just the parental support is evident with the parent meeting. So players and parents combined, we had about 80 the other night, and a couple of Dr. Lawler, who was my team doctor. He's a surgeon and orthopedic surgeon, and in Anniston, Oxford, and so he told me that it was the most that he had seen at a football event. So his kids have gone. Marcus Lawler, his son, is a rising junior and really outstanding football and basketball player. So um, looking forward to coaching him. But just I at Talladega for 2 years, I was unable to beg or borrow a trainer, and so I couldn't get a trainer there. Part of that is just the world we live in. I think they've required a master's degree now, but they don't they don't pay any more than a
Right.
bachelor's degree. So we've got a shortage of trainers right now. So I've got a full-time trainer. I got a world-class surgeon on the sidelines every Friday night that's vested, that's invested
Yeah.
because he's got kids at
Yeah.
school. He got, his son playing for me. Just all the parents, wanted to shake my hand and meet me. There's so many dads there. So really looking forward to it. Um, like I said, the hallways at the school, peaceful. Um, and so anyway, but you never know until you get fully there full time.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm not quite there yet. I'm finishing out the school year at Talladega, and then June 1 will be my official retirement.
Yeah. Well, it
So
sounds like from the little you've been able to kind of be involved so far, you mentioned the numbers. I mean, it sounds like there's some enthusiasm there.
there he is, and Jeremy Satcher, uh, the coach that's stepping down. I mean, we're good friends, and he was not fired uh, for reasons. He's getting married. So he called me. He called me before anybody knew that he was going to step down at Donoho, and told me about the job and that
Yeah.
he was stepping down. He was getting married. He needed to get back into Alabama retirement because he only had, I think, 2 years. And I'm telling too much of his business, but he wanted to be able to do what I'm doing starting
Sure.
June 1st someday and be able to have a
Sure.
good retirement, teacher retirement.
Absolutely.
Uh, but that being said, I told the parents, I mean, I'm re-energized. Um, I'm not a 57-year-old guy that's going to just trying to draw an extra check. Um, can't wait for this summer workouts, and they're finishing up exams. It's very important. Um, at Donoho, academics are number one. They're number one, and I'm fine with that. I was a good student, and I'm going to make sure that it stays it stays right here. And then, but then I want football to be just below it.
Yeah.
So it can also, you can be a great student and be a great student athlete.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, most great I mean, most guys that excel these days are good in both. We talk about what Bill Curry taught us at Alabama in the late '80s is that being a champion is not a sometime thing;
That's
it's an all the time thing. And so you can't be excellent, uh, coachable. You can't be a great practice player. You know, um, I mean, it takes being a champion all the time. And
right.
if you cheat on the practice field, you'll cheat on life and in school. So
That's
we talk about it.
that's right. How do I know Donahoe had its struggles this last year.
Mm-hmm.
Just on the field, just results, right? How do
Mm-hmm.
you go about when you take a new job? I guess the cliche these days is change the culture or whatever. But
Uh-huh.
what process do you take to come in and have guys buy
Mm.
in and say, this is the way we're gonna do it, and here's how we're gonna get there?
Well, I most of the places I've been have been down. Um, Crossville had been down, um, and they haven't had a winning season since 2010, and they haven't had a varsity team in the last 2 years. Shades Valley had not been to the playoffs in 12 years. Um, Now, when I got to Munford, um, Coach Wagner had Munford in a good. Didn't have to. All I had to do was just keep improving. I had good kids that knew how to work hard, and so
Right.
fantastic kids. I'm still very close, really, to everywhere I've been. I've still got kids that I keep up with. Um, but so Talladega really is the only place I've been where I haven't had a high level of buy-in, and don't know exactly why that is, but I'm grateful to be at a place that right now is very excited. Um, He said the kids are great. They started a senior chat with me, with the other six seniors, and so I just weight room. We're going to do the right things. We're not going to use profanity. Um, Speed development, change of direction, linear speed, nutrition, love each other, brotherhood. But now, to piggyback off of something you mentioned earlier, just watching film, they were 0-9 last year, but it was a lot different than our 0-10 at Talladega. They were in most of the games late. Uh, and so we've already talked about it. I've already talked about it with the seniors. Is that you even the games that got out of hand in the fourth quarter, uh, they were scoring or they were getting first downs. They were making teams punt, and so there was a mistake or two made. A team would score a touchdown off of a mistake, and then it appeared that the mindset was, "Here we go again," and it just spiraled downward after that. So um, that's what we're going to work on, not quitting, going full speed at every drill, pursuit drill every day on defense, all 11 people running to the ball, enthusiasm. Um, so that's what we're going to do.
I
See
like
if it
it.
works.
I like it. I'm looking at your 2024 schedule here. So y'all are Class 1A, Region 6, and
Yeah.
Region 6. I'm going to go alphabetical order. Man, a lot near the end of the alphabet here. You've got Donoho, Fayetteville, and then we go Victory Christian, Wadley, Winterboro, and Woodland.
Wow.
You
Yeah.
you you know much about that region?
Well, not really. I've just been watching a lot of film. I know Raglan's. I know
Yeah.
a lot of those schools are going to be hard nosed country kids, and that's fine. That's a tough combination. Um, and I know some of the coaches at Raglan. I know Coach Limbaugh well at Fayetteville. Cole Limbaugh. I'm on his support team ever since I've been at Munford. He was instrumental as my FCA guy, and so as I was leaving Fayette, man, this guy has ministered to me and my team for 4 years, and so I joined his support team. So he'll be around quite a bit, and FCA is going to be a big part also of our culture. But just been watching film. Um, most of the teams are run first. I know, you know, athletically, the two best teams probably athletically, just looking player for player, is going to be Winterboro and Wadley. We had to drop TC and pick up Pleasant Valley because TC's not going to have a field of team next year, our school. So Pleasant Valley was added to our schedule because it was a home game, and I really couldn't afford to lose a home game. But they're a good team, and they've got everybody coming back. But I couldn't find anybody else, and they wanted to play, so we agreed to play. But I'm still learning the region, and I know there's a 4-star 6'4" kid at Wadley that is tough to tackle, and at any level, let alone 1A,
Yeah.
2A.
Sure.
But but anyway, um, do you know anything about those? You can educate me on
No.
uh, just watching film. I mean, I know Matt Griffith has taken over at Victory, and so
Uh,
he had been at Sylacauga for years, done a great job
yeah,
there. To be honest, I thought he was done bad at Sylacauga, but that's coaching. That's coaching.
that's coaching.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the life of a coach. But he'll do great things at Victory. They'll be good. Um, and that's my home church there. Ann and I go to church at Victory, and but I hope they win 9 games next year. And there's only one I'll be pulling against them, and that'll be us. I know he'll probably his roots are running the veer, so he'll probably be an option team, which is
Mm.
which is tough these days because you don't see it very much.
Yeah.
And so my roots have been Mike Leach and Hal Mummy, and so I haven't been able to really aerate it as much. And I love running the ball, but I want to win. So when I've interviewed for jobs, I've had principals and ads. What kind of offense you going to run? And so here in my old age, in the last few years, I tell them what kind of kids you got.
That's
And
it.
so really and truly, um, so many people are spreading it these days.
Yeah.
Um, I've been tempted to go back. I was a veer quarterback in high school, and I've been so tempted to go back to my roots of inside outside veer trap option midline. But I think I've got some wide receivers and a quarterback that can spread it around a little bit. So we'll still want to run the ball, but I'm excited to be able to go back to my Mike Leach, and I've got a young protege. He wants me to get a pirate shirt,
Oh,
and
let's go. Do it. Do it.
which I may just do that. I may just do that. I'm telling you, when Coach Leach passed, I'd been following him. I had been VHS taping his Texas
Yeah.
Tech team 2000 all the way through Washington State, Mississippi State. Obviously not VHS anymore, but and so one of my highlights is we made a lot of money football athletics at Russellville. So Coach Swindle, I mean, we traveled, and so as coaches, so we went to spring at Oklahoma. A year they won a national championship. The next year we went to Texas Tech to hang out with Mike Leach, and one of the highlights of my career, literally, is about hour and a half to 2 hours that I got to spend with Mike Leach one on one at an assistant coach's apartment in Lubbock. And so, long story how it came to happen. He just wanted to hang out, and so it was two Russellville coaches, me and Errol Jones, and then an assistant coach at Texas Tech, and then Mike Leach. And so, about 2 hours of talking everything from uh, loft apartments that we were in. He said, I had to get one. I said, I don't know if I can afford this one, coach. Oh, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. To talking screens, to talking, I asked him, I said, you don't use a lot of motion in your offense. He said, why would I use a lot of motion uh, when I see what they're in and I go motion, I don't know exactly what they're going to do. And so now he did use a lot more motion after he left Texas Tech. Mississippi State, he used quite a bit more. So, but anyway, that's one of my highlights, getting to talk to the Pirate, just one on
Man.
one. And so he he wanted to be an SEC coach so badly. He really liked Alabama. He had lobbied to get the Alabama job and the Auburn job back
Oh,
years
wow.
ago. And
Wow.
I guess he just was too unique.
Unique.
He was just too unique for those jobs, especially at that point. At that point, but anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
I think as you and me as Bama guys, we're fine with how things turned out. But if a guy like him would have ended up at Auburn, I mean that
mhm,
would have been. I'm not gonna say I would have been afraid of Auburn, but you would have been like, what could he do down there? Kind of how
yeah,
they're talking about Hugh Freeze now. Once he gets his guys in and the way he runs an offense, it
mhm,
could be prolific.
yeah. Um, excuse me, no question. Um, if you look at what he did at Texas Tech, you look at what he did at Washington State.
Yeah,
The guy changes programs, or he did.
absolutely.
Uh, I mean, if he had stayed at Texas Tech, who knows what would have happened? Because it was trending upward. It was really trending
Yeah,
upward. He uh, he was one loss away from having a chance to really play for something at Texas Tech. Their best year, I think it was 2005, maybe.
Five.
Uh,
Okay.
and that was the year they had um, their best run game, which took some, um, and they averaged about 160 yards a game on the ground, which for him,
Yeah.
of course, they were putting up 400 yards passing. But was that Crabtree?
Michael
Uh,
Crabtree. Yeah.
yeah. And so when he goes to Washington State, um, he's playing for a league championship at his home stadium. The problem is that it was a 5-inch blizzard. I mean, it was coming down. You couldn't see the lines, couldn't see the hash marks, and so the one chance that they had a chance to win it and maybe slip into the playoffs, he's playing in a blizzard, and they were still chunking it around. I mean, you couldn't even hardly see the football. But do you remember that game?
It maybe
I'm tr-
vaguely. It's hard for me to
yeah,
remember back, but
but pull
I,
them.
I remember them having the chance. I do remember
Yeah,
that.
you talk about late November and pull them. You got a 50-50 chance of it being snow.
Yeah. Well,
But
you said you mentioned you get like a pirate on there on your shirt.
yeah,
You might do that.
yeah,
Hey, pirates. The some of the imagery has been like a parrot or whatever on their
yeah,
shoulder. You just get you a falcon on there since Donahoe's the Falcons.
yeah, yeah. There you go. I like
You just got to find someone who can design it because I can't do that.
it.
I'll come up with the idea and someone else can carry it through.
Yeah.
That would look good.
Well, I'll ask you a question.
Yeah,
Who
hit me
is
with it.
who is going to become the director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know
Well,
enough. I don't know enough about all that down there. I know
I
that's a.
know.
I know that's a. I know that's a tough gig. Especially.
I would
Uh,
not want the job. No.
no, no. Alvin had. That was tough walking in after Coach Savarese. After the job he did, and then. I'm not. This is not me saying Alvin did a good or bad or whatever job, but it was in his tenure at least. It just whether it be circumstance, whether it be leadership, who knows? I don't know. But it was just kind of thing after thing,
Yeah.
where the AHSAA, it wasn't just like me or a statewide person or Kyle Parmley or whoever writing about something with the AHSAA. It was stuff that was happening nationally, like with
Yeah.
the girl, forget Maria Davenport, and then the Seventh Day Adventist basketball team, and then
Yeah.
some different stuff. The baseball coach at Hoover and his suspension. It was just a lot of big stuff that seemed really really difficult to overcome.
Yeah. I mean, things that you don't think you'll ever have to deal with
Mm,
when you take the job. But I would not want the
wait,
job. But here is what I'm begging. I'm begging for it to be someone that's going to do what they always said they were going to do, and that is consistently enforce our rules.
absolutely.
That's what I'm begging, and it's tough, um, but our culture now, and it's dribbled down from the NFL to the colleges to the high schools, and I mean, I remember a speaker at the Alabama High School Athletic Association, whose name I withhold. He basically almost got a standing ovation because the first time, the first statement that he made was, "Coaches, coach your players."
Yeah.
And then there was a pause, and then there was a pause, and then there was applause. And so the transfer portal is alive and well in the state of Alabama, and it's a little bit. I'm nostalgic because I grew up, and then some of this is still true with 1A and 2A. Kids grow up in a community and they want to play for that school, that community, the kids
Sure.
that they play pee wee ball with. But increasingly, that has become not the norm, not the
Yeah.
norm. And kids that have D1 offers as a before their senior year, I don't understand moving. You've already got D1 offers,
Exactly.
and at 1A here, you know, I've got a young man named Hayes Farrell who's a 6'5" tight end. When I first started watching his film, I'm like, this kid's D1. May not be Power Five, but definitely Division two, FCS. But anyway, so it was within a couple of days of that, of me watching the film and actually thinking, maybe doubting my eyes, when I started getting phone calls from Jacksonville State and UNA and Navy. Navy's they really like him at Navy. So, but you can get these days. It's very rare for kids to fall through the cracks. Now, I'm going to
Absolutely.
promote my kids. I think I promote kids as hard as any head coach in the state. I love doing it. It's been a passion of mine since I was at Russellville and was the, for lack of a better term, recruiting coordinator for Coach Swindle. I was the only single coach on the staff at the time. He worked me to death, but I enjoyed. I I made highlight films. They
Yep.
were cassettes. Pause, record, play, pause, record. And we were fortunate. We had a really good run with some really good homegrown athletes at Russellville. But anyway, I'm chasing rabbits. But we went. But I just want us to consistently enforce our rules. If we're not going to enforce the rules consistently, then let's call it the Wild Wild West and just let it be a free for all. But we've got rules on the books. We need to enforce them.
Yeah.
And um, if you see rules, turn. I think one of the things that people have got, and I've gotten, it's 57 now. I'm just going to speak my mind. So um, I think people have seen rules seemingly. We've seen people turn schools in for infractions, and nothing has been done. Uh, from the outside looking in, you never know exactly the situation, but I think a lot of people just stop turning folks in, even if they know a kid is not moved, not made a bona fide move. And so I just want somebody in charge of the Alabama High School Athletic Association that's going to consistently enforce our rules.
How how hard is it, or is it hard, I should say, like if a kid moves, like I don't know, this is where I struggle with it because I agree. If there are rules and they're there for a reason, enforce them. You go by them. You have to have order to prevent chaos in anything.
Yeah,
But how, like, if a kid has moved or has allegedly moved or whatever, like how is that investigated or determined that something is bona fide or is not bona fide? Like, I don't know how that works.
for years. And I've been an athletic director and a head coach for a while. And um, I mean, we're talking about 2 decades of it's your responsibility. Um, if you get a move in, I mean, you're supposed to verify with your eyeballs
Yep.
where they're living, and you're actually supposed to go and check their previous residence to see if they have vacated the previous residence. And
Okay.
so there's really only uh, if you've still got your previous, it's got to either be, I think, being rented, or you've got it for sale. Otherwise, it's got to be vacated. And
Okay.
all principal members of that household that was living in the original place have got to move to the new school zone. And so,
Interesting.
yeah, it's, I mean, on the books, every, schools that have 10 or 20 transfers coming in, it's the responsibility of that athletic director or administration to verify every address. And
Mm,
so I don't know if that's being done or just being overlooked or whatever, but
yeah. So is that
I,
like so like if a kid makes a bona fide move, like let's say all that is done and makes a bona fide move, but it's in season. Let's just say week 5, a kid playing at school A makes a bona fide move to, school zone B. Is he eligible like
yeah,
immediately?
if he makes a bona fide move and the previous, I mean, we've seen it happen. We saw it happen this last year
Hmm.
during mid-year. I've seen in Mobile, I've seen Team A get beat by Team B.
Yeah.
Team B loses their quarterback to an injury. In the middle of the year, Team A quarterback transfers to Team B. And then I've seen them play the other team in the playoffs with the quarterback that had been in that school. But I've seen it happen at least twice in the last 10 years. Uh, but if you make a bona fide move, you're eligible.
Okay.
Um,
I don't know if this and okay, so here's my example, and then we'll move on. But to run out of room in my garbage can. So this last year, I was covering the Spain Park at Hewitt Trustful game near the end of the regular season. I think it was last region game, so it was
mhm.
probably week 8, week 9, something like that. And there was I'm not going to name him because I don't, everybody knows who I'm talking about. And I don't know his circumstance, so this is not me judging. This is just my example. But he played in that game, and Spain Park came into Hewitt Trustful and really took him behind the woodshed. You talk about air raid.
Hmm.
They lit them up through the air. I mean, Spain Park's got an unbelievable quarterback prospect, Brock Bradley. He had really good receivers. Hewitt Trustful struggled in the secondary, certainly that game, but a little bit all year, and they just got torched. And this particular kid played. By Monday, he was enrolled at another school within that same region, 7A Region 3.
Yes.
And me and Kyle Parmley did our podcast and we talked about it. And, I don't know all these rules. And if he makes a bona fide move, great. And I don't think that the kid ended up playing that next week or maybe even the rest of the year
I I don't
at
I don't
Thompson.
think I don't think he played any.
I don't think he played it down. I know he dressed for some, but I don't think he played it down.
I don't think so
Um,
either.
but I remember us making the point, talking about it, that it was like that next week, Thompson, I think, had Hoover, or maybe it was 2 weeks later. I don't remember the exact timeline, but I remember saying on the podcast, like, let's say the move is bona fide. I mean, obviously he's in the jersey. He did, they did whatever they needed to do to get him quote unquote eligible, right? He's at the school, he's attending class, he's wearing the Thompson Warrior jersey. But I was sitting there thinking, I was like, how crazy would it be if he played games against Hoover High School twice in the same regular season for two different teams? And I
Yeah.
was like, I like bona fide move or not, I couldn't wrap my mind around that possibility that he could have lined up over that Hoover offensive line with Spain Park jersey on, and then line up over that Hoover offensive line with Thompson jersey on. I could not wrap my mind around how that could be possible.
Well, it's crazy. It's crazy times. It's crazy times. But I'll go back and I'll brag on, um, especially at the smaller schools.
Yeah.
Um, you see a lot less of that. Um, it still means something, and there's still schools in the state that are historically um, the community revolves around. Take Hanley, for instance, in Roanoke.
Yeah.
Strain's a good friend of mine. Uh, we had some battles um, when I was at Munford, um, and but he does a great job. And Roanoke rallies around the high school, and so their baseball is good, their basketball is good, their football is extremely good. Their facilities are outstanding for 4A, and so they've been good for a long time, and they're going to be good for a long time. Their demographics haven't changed much at all. If you look at a place very similar to that, like Deschler, um, their demographics have not changed much. Tuscumbia, I mean, that's really my neck of the woods, and so just they're always going to be good. And so you can look around. I mean, Jackson, um, uh, who won 1A this last year? I'm
Uh,
I'm
my
having a
goodness.
I'm having a moment.
I'm trying to think. 1A, 1A. Who won
Well,
1A?
it was
Leroy.
yeah. Leroy's always going to be good. They're always going to be good. I interviewed for that job years ago, and I was coaching in Mobile, and I interviewed for it, and I thought I was going to get the job, and I was single. Uh, I was hoping I would find a bride, and I just thought it's going to be tough, finding a bride here. But I knew I'd have a chance year in and year out to make a run in the playoffs. And so you saw the crowd. Uh, the demographics haven't changed much, and they've lost some enrollment. I mean, they were 2A at the time, but they had a great crowd. Lynette, they're always going to have a great crowd. And Chip Siegel, great friend of mine. Uh, I think just officially stepped down there. But Coach Story, outstanding man there. They're always going to be good at Lynette, and I probably shouldn't even mention that about Chip, but he a great friend of mine, and so I knew this was going to happen, and it's really just his decision, personal decision, and he loves those kids. Outstanding coach, but it was just time for him to focus on his health and his marriage, and nothing wrong with his marriage. All right,
I get
I need to
no,
shut up. It was just
no,
his personal decision,
yeah.
and he wanted to
Sometimes it's yeah.
spend time
Sometimes
with
it's
his
just
wife.
time to do something different. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And
man.
so, but
You
those
know,
I was just naming places that it's always going to be important uh,
yes,
for your community, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, school, and unfortunately, those places are becoming more rare.
yeah.
And this, the nostalgia side of myself, is saddened by that. But anyway,
No, I get it. I'm a big history guy, so naturally I'm a big nostalgia guy too. And I had this book idea years ago, and I probably shouldn't say it here, but I'm gonna. That way I'm on record, and if anyone steals it, I'll know. Um, and I haven't got to do it. I haven't got to work on it. But I had this idea several years ago, and I've still got it saved with a bunch of preliminary information for this book that I've wanted to write, where I wanted to travel the state. And I talked to some other author types and stuff about it. And they were like, well, you need to expand your reach beyond just Alabama. And I was like, well, Alabama is where I know coaches and communities and players, and I can be hyper local and honestly would just be able just to travel Alabama. Wouldn't have to go to
right,
Tennessee or Mississippi or Georgia. But I had this idea where I wanted to travel the state, and let's just say over the course of two falls or 2 years, whatever. I don't know what the timeline would be, where I go to all of these different communities, big communities, small communities, just run the gamut, 1A through 7A, AISA, all of it. And where like I spend like a whole day in a community talking with, hitting the landmarks, talking with the people, and have like one chapter of the book about a particular community. Let's just use your school as an example. And we'll say Donoho, and I spend the entire day, maybe 2 days, whatever, in the community, gathering stories, talking to people, really learning what the place, the community, the culture is all about. And then also doing a football specific same type thing about the program history, cover the game on Friday night, and call it a day, right? And do this across the state. And I was going to call it, I'm trying to remember exactly, because I wanted to do that twofold, where one chapter is community, the other chapter is football about that, just Donoho, right? And I would think I was gonna, what was I gonna call it? I was gonna call it tailbacks and tailgates, or tailgates and tailbacks. I forget which way I ordered it,
Mhm.
as the main title. And then the subtitle of the book was going to be a dual threat dash across Dixie.
I like it.
I
I,
loved it, and I
no,
just haven't done it yet.
no, I like it. I like it. Do it.
I
Um,
know I gotta find time somehow.
the I mean, in the baseball playoffs, it was fun. I pull up and we had already Dono had to beat somebody 2 games in a row to get into the
Oh
playoffs,
wow.
and then they did, and their bats really were great that night, and then uh, went on the road and won 2 games and able to come back. But so I pull up for the first game at home at Dono, and there was some tents set up, tailgating set up,
Yeah.
big spread of food, and so Coach Smith, come over and get a hamburger, hot dog, and so it was awesome, and
Yeah.
so hadn't been used to that in a while, and also kind of sad that Talladega County Central is shutting down. Um,
Yeah.
you talking about tailgating at a 1A? I mean,
Yeah.
there were spreads there every Friday night. My wife was a counselor there for a year and a half. She loves that school. She was very sad to hear they're shutting
Yeah.
down, and so I know I'm old and nostalgic, and I look back, and I know the good old days sometimes are not as good as you think they are, but anyway, I remember at Crossville the first time I ever heard, is it Kenny Chesney's "The Boys That Fall"?
That's it.
Yeah, I remember. Now the first time I ever heard that song, we were doing a walkthrough on the stadium in Crossville on Friday, and I had a dad that was trying to fire everybody up, and so he was in the press box and he started blaring that real loud while we were doing our walkthrough, and I like things to be quiet during the walkthrough and everything. So I was trying to keep my blood pressure down, but I don't know. My wife and I, we were talking about the other day. I mean, when one of the lines in the movie um, that I look back and go, man, at Russellville, when I played for Russellville and different places, when you mess with one, you got us all.
Yeah.
The boys will fall. And so I just look back at that, Of course, now as I'm an ornery head coach, I hate pep rallies, but I loved pep rallies when I was high school playing stuff. And so I live for those. But my wife has had to, she's helped me to just relax. And it's a pep rally, it didn't mess with you when you were in high school. And so, and I just, but, uh, but anyway,
Yeah. Let's wrap with this.
okay,
I've been asking every coach to kind of wrap with this.
okay.
I'm curious, especially you being at a new school, what are you looking forward to the most this fall?
Um, just I think we got pieces of the puzzle there. I mean, we just got to get in the weight room. I got to have a buy-in. I told the seniors we're going to win. How quick we do is going to be up to you. Um, and I've heard it said this, and I said this during our parent player meeting. A bad team, no one leads. a good team, the coaches lead, an outstanding team, the players lead. And so I think that was one of the things that Nick Saban was able to do that elevated Alabama. There was so much buy-in and so much player accountability. And so I'm hoping to see a buy-in really quick. It appears that way, but we got to have great workouts. I think I think what I'm hoping to see is that us somehow reach our potential. And that's all a coach can do. I've had people ask me in different interviews, what does success mean to you, coach? Well, success at Donoho is different than success at Thompson or at Hanley, or it's different everywhere. All a coach can do is take the players that he has and get them to individually and also as corporately as a team to their certain level. And every individual and every team has they have a limit, and it's an upper limit. And let's face it, and this is hard to say because everybody believes that this may not be true, but there's only about in each division in 1A through 7A, there's only about 8 teams that have a chance to win a state championship.
It's
And
true.
so, and it's probably less than that, but you know, but making the playoffs, you never know. It's about matchups and this or that, and weather and everything. But my 6-4 season, my second year at Crossville, extremely rewarding. Um, because we were close. We were close to the upper limit.
Yeah.
We had 26 players, 4A, and that was 9 through 12. Uh, just no drama, just kids getting after it, unselfish. Um, and so 10-4 season at my first year at Munford, very, very close to the upper limit, and then got beat by a really good Leeds team in the semifinals. So, but that's what I want. I want these kids to experience success, and that success is individual. How close can we get you to your upper limit individually, physically, and culturally in the team culture, and then buy into team, be unselfish, and let's see how close to our upper limit. I don't know if that's 4-6. I don't know if it's 8-2. I don't know if it's 2-8. But if we play as good as we can play and come together as a team, um, that's all we can do. And then we can have some fun doing that, and it can be rewarding. You said a 5-5, 6-4 season has been rewarding before.
Yeah. No,
Mhm.
that's beautiful. And I think that's a perfect way to wrap this thing, coach.
Mhm.
I certainly appreciate you taking the time, and hopefully we'll have some people follow some Donaho football this year. Look, man,
Mhm.
I don't know if these are still the helmets y'all wear, but I mean, it's like a maroon version of the Philadelphia Eagles for real.
Yeah,
Um,
it is
those
with
are
that Falcon. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
those look awesome, man.
I've got
So
I've got some really neat gear, compression shirts and hoodies and stuff. It's our culture today. I mean, I want my kids to look better than everybody
yeah,
else.
yeah.
And so we've got some real cool stuff that we're about to be in. And so, going to really try to promote our brand. It's an awesome school, great academics, and I'm just thrilled to be there. So,
Yeah, I can feel that re-energized kind of feeling from you, and I'm
yes,
excited for you and
yes,
excited for what's to come at Donaho. So
hmm
that'll be a fun program to watch moving forward, and I wish you guys a lot of luck this fall.
Well, thank you so much, my brother. Thank you for having me on here. And I've chased a lot of rabbits, so I apologize.
No, that's what this is for. I mean, that's what we do. We just on here chasing rabbits.
Chasing rabbits. So it's been fun. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Coach. I appreciate you.
Have a tremendous day, sir.
You too.